Coming up this week, off-screen.
The Replicants are back as Blade Runner reaches 2049.
Kate Winslet and Idris Elba have a mountain between them.
Brie Larson looks through a glass castle.
There's classic Coen Brothers drama as Blood Simple returns.
Michael Winterbottom takes Wolf Alice on the road.
And we peek behind the curtain of the Gipper with The Reagan Show.
All those to come and more, off-screen.
This is Off-Screen. Off-Screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off-Screen, the on-screen radio show.
Welcome to Off-Screen, I'm Van Connor.
I'm Kelly Needham.
Welcome back, Miss Needham.
Thank you for having me.
So, before news, before reviews, before box office top 5, before many, many, many competitions, as always, and really, we get these competitions stacked up in months in advance now. It's ridiculous.
They're very good competition.
We know more competitions that we have in the future than we do films.
All right, well, you tell me about these after.
Yeah. So, before that, give me a piece of film news to tide me over then. What have we got to begin this week?
There's so much to choose from, but I think we'll start with a new cast member of Venom. You heard about this?
Because you and I are both big fans of Parks and Recreation.
Of course.
So Venom is the Spider-Man spin-off. It's not going to star Topher Grace.
Oh, no.
I know, for shame.
How could they upgrade to, is it Tom Hardy?
Tom Hardy, I know. How do you go from Topher Grace to Tom Hardy? That's real escalation right there. Although it's worth noting that Christopher Nolan, when he was making films, he downgraded from Tom Hardy to Topher Grace between films. So, think about it. Inception to Interstellar. Yeah. Tom Hardy is the new Venom. Riz Ahmed is in that movie as well. A weird bit of casting, although I'm really glad to see he's getting more mainstream stuff after Rogue One, because that was something sort of out of the wheelhouse for him.
Yeah.
And now we have a female member of the cast playing a scientist, no less.
A sexy scientist?
Well, she's Jenny Slate, so I think, sexy scientist. But, so Jenny Slate, of course, is more known for animation work at the minute, I think, than live action.
Do you think?
I would say so. She's Gidget in The Secret Life of Pets.
Yeah.
Okay, she's...
Bellwether,
I think.
Bellwether?
Deputy Mayor Bellwether in Zootopia, or Zootropolis, depending on what you call it. Yeah, she's getting around. Although, I saw her film Obvious Child a few years ago, which I think she wrote and directed as well. And it was terrific. I really loved it. And it was very edgy and very of its time. In fact, it's very of now, given certain news events this week. And, isn't she also Mrs. Chris Evans in real life?
She was. I think that's over now. But I think she has a really distinctive voice, doesn't she?
She does, doesn't she? She kind of sounds like Julie Benz and Joey Lauren Adams had a baby and then put it in a dark, smoky, almost Baltic-looking package.
Baltic-looking.
I don't know her ethnicity. It's like Mila Kunis. I don't know. I actually know that Mila Kunis is actually Russian, isn't she?
Ukrainian?
Is she? I don't know.
Well, clearly we don't know.
We clearly don't know enough.
We're uninformed. We're ignorant.
We are. We're ignorant. Okay. Let's talk then about our first film review of the week. Let's talk about The Mountain Between Us. Have you seen the bus ads for this?
I don't think anyone hasn't.
Okay.
Surely.
So you're aware of the very, very basic setup for this one?
No, I've literally only seen the posters.
Oh, okay. All right. So basically, there's chaos at the airport one Christmas, as there often tends to be, and a surgeon who's trying to get back home to perform a life-altering surgery on a young boy. He's a neurosurgeon. And a photographer who's coming back from an overseas assignment who's trying to get back for her wedding. They basically team up when they discover that they can't fly home by regular means, and they hire a private plane between them.
That's what I do every time.
It's kind of thing that only happens in movies, isn't it? Yeah. Nobody has ever done this from Stansted, you know what I mean? You've never heard about this from Robin Hood Airport, you know what I mean? Yeah.
No one's chartering them planes.
Exactly. So no sooner have they gotten airborne, however, than the pilot has a stroke. And they happen to be flying straight towards the storm that has basically shut down all the airports. So the storm obviously takes out the plane. There's no pilot to correct the course. They crash on, would you believe it, a mountain. So it's not just a clever title.
It's a real mountain.
It's a real mountain. They are physically together on the ground, though. The mountain isn't between them. That's a metaphorical bit of the title. And basically, you've got Idris Elba's the doctor, Kate Winslet's the photographer. They've got a dog with them because the pilot had a dog on the plane. And they must overcome their differences. He's very organised. She is more carefree, more soulful. And find a way to either A, survive long enough to get rescued, or B, find a way to, back to civilization. We have a clip.
There was this one girl, she told me all about this boy she liked, and, and I gave her my lipstick. Then there was an explosion, and she was badly injured. I took her picture. And she died. I can't take your picture. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna die. Not today.
So, basic setup for a movie. Is there a woman alive who doesn't want to be stuck on a mountain with Idris Elba? I mean, really.
I don't want to meet her if there is.
You wouldn't want to meet that woman, would you? Let's be honest, most guys would love to be stuck on a mountain with Idris Elba just so we could say, dude, can we be best friends?
Aww.
But anyway, right. So this has got a lot going for it. Mm-hmm. This has got, well, first of all, I mean, you look at the casting. Idris Elba and Kate Winslet is a very specific kind of casting there. When you've cast those two in the same project, and they are largely the only cast members on screen, because in fact, really, that's the case. Beau Bridges is briefly in there as the pilot, but it is more or less these two the entire time.
And the dog.
Who doesn't have a name, incidentally. They don't learn his name early on, so they have to just call him Dog for the entire movie. Here's the thing with it, say, once you get these two, and you've pitched this movie in a certain way, it's very obvious where the demographic is. And the demographic is my mum. And it's your mum. It's all our mums, basically.
It's a mum movie.
It's very much a mum movie. And actually, for the most part, that's never a problem at all. You kind of enjoy the way it's a very fluffy film, but it's not afraid to actually ramp up the "you may well die here" angle. But at the same time,
I'm surprised that it's fluffy.
Well, it's a 12A as well. Is it 12A 15? I think I read that it was a 12A and I read it was 15 somewhere else. But to be fair, it feels more like a 12A than a 15.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is fluffy. It is kind of frothy, even though it deals with, quite dark aspects of survival and elements like that. We're not talking about alive. No one's eating, other people. They don't.
That would have been a real twist.
Cook and eat the pilot or anything like that. The dog is safe, for instance. In fact, that's actually something about the film that's worth pointing out. It's, for the most part, it's actually quite brave in taking on and subverting aspects of the survival thriller. So, for instance, the dog. There are numerous points in this film where you think, in a lazy movie, that's where you would have killed the dog.
The dog would have got it.
Exactly. But in this film, instead, and this might be down to the fluffiness, or it might be an element of bravery in the writing, they keep the dog around as an actual character in this film, and he becomes quite an integral, sort of soulful part of this narrative. It's very strange, but actually really likeable. Where the film falls down dead, however, is, and this isn't really a spoiler if you've seen any of the marketing. If you've not seen any of the marketing, I suppose it kind of constitutes, but I don't think you can critique this film without saying it. There is an element early on, sort of a very, very subtle undercurrent of a sort of opposites attract romance story.
Yeah.
And you're kind of content for it to be that. And the film works as long as it is that. When they eventually drop the ball on that one, though, and decide, we're going for it, this all just goes to hell. And
Why?
Yeah, because it just doesn't work. The survival element and the awkward romance thing doesn't work in tandem. It doesn't work. It doesn't work as far as keeping the momentum going. The actual survival element of it kind of works better if they don't have a romantic connection. And if it is back to that subtle stage that it was at the beginning, they don't do that, however, and it's a shame because up to that point, I was actually really enjoying it, but. Again, your mum and my mum going to love this. All the mums.
I was going to say, would the mums still love it if they didn't go there with the romance?
Once they go there with the romance, though, you come away and you do feel like what you've watched could feasibly be an adaptation of an airport novel. You know what I mean? That novel that women over a certain age all buy in the airport when they're going on their holidays and they read it on the beach.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. that. It feels like that, and less the sort of the great soulful survival. Yeah, it's a shame, because I was kind of on board with it. I was pretty on board with it until then. And yeah, really sunk it for me. But never mind.
What a shame.
It is a shame. It's a sting in the end of the tail. And the final closure of it all is ridiculous. It is just no.
Well, that definitely is a spoiler, so you'll have to tell me when we're not.
No, I won't give you the details, but the actual ending of this is garbage.
Oh, man.
Again, my mum would love it. But terrible tasting films, though. Awful tasting films, my mother. Just really, honestly, awful.
Is it worth watching, though? I mean, is it worth it? If it's on TV in, I don't know, a year's time.
You'll probably come away from it thinking exactly what I did. I really like that until the romance stuff. And then I didn't care. And that's really it. So, yeah. But, and also, I just love the idea of a dog named Dog. So
that's original.
It's original. Let's plug podcast competitions real quick. So competitions this week. This goes out on Friday. It's worth noting Friday is the last day to enter the Red Turtle competition, which you should enter. Red Turtle is an amazing movie, and you should absolutely want to own it. So enter.
There you go.
We have got The Exception on DVD, which you and I saw and reviewed last week, which I think we both quite liked.
I quite liked it. It's not a hard-hitting thing. You want to see Giles Courtney, if you know
Giles Courtney, and Lily's James. Lily's Jameses. And of course, Song to Song, which I liked a lot less. That's on DVD. We're giving that away as well. So
same competition.
Not the same competition. You don't get to see Giles Courtney and Ryan Gosling in one same go. It doesn't work that way.
Oh, man.
So no, sorry, we're not that giving. So go on to onscreenfilm.com/competitions, or just go on onscreenfilm.com. Just click in. In the meanwhile, podcast edition.
Yes.
You got to hear yourself on Acast last week, I'd imagine. So.
And do you know, I actually did listen back to it because I thought I'm bound to forget what I said. And isn't it awful when you listen to yourself?
I wouldn't know. I'm an egotist. So I would narrate my own life if I could.
The great thing is that everyone got to hear me blabbering on and on and on and making your show super long.
This is what it's like just being your friend, though. Anyway, go on. If you want the extended version of this podcast, which this week includes more film news, a look at the reissue of Blood Simple, the 80s Coen Brothers movie, and of course, our moment of Cage, and of course, more top-class bands from Kel and I. Just go on to, iTunes, Deezer, TuneIn, Acast. If you go on Acast, you get the digital bling as well, which we're very proud of. And that's all down to your lesser half. That's all down to John's decision that we have.
He pushed you into it, and
it was worth it. He pushed me into it, and it was totally worth it, yeah. So check out the Off-Screen Extended Podcast Edition for more off-screeny goodness.
With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off-Screen, the on-screen radio show.
And we're back. I love a bit of Avengers. Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
It is. It's not bad, is it? It's got some rewatchability. Not too bad. So, box office top 5. Should we clear that for the week?
Let's do it.
Let's get it on.
Number 5.
Flatliners.
Which nobody saw.
And to clarify, we mean Flatliners 2017.
Right, okay, here's the funny thing, because obviously we didn't get to do a review because they did not press show it. Right, they didn't show it to any critics at all. So any critic who saw it had to do it on their own dime, this myself included. And boy, was it not worth it. It really wasn't worth it. And, Greg and I just went and caught it on Friday afternoon, and I don't think either of us was particularly enchanted.
But it's got Juno in it.
Right, so here's the funny thing with it. You know those orange adverts we used to get, where they had the movie pitch guy?
Before the movies, yeah.
Exactly.
The movies.
We used to get jokes like, we'll make the 4th in the trilogy. Right, imagine that scene, but they're pitching this movie, okay? Mm-hmm. He comes in and he says, okay, I've got an idea. We make Flatliners, right? But instead of brick and neon, this time we do chrome and LED. And these kids hump.
Ooh.
And and I feel like that's the Orange Wednesdays ad that would have created this movie. And it's really no more imaginative than that. Apparently they have deleted a scene in the film that explicitly sets it up as the sequel to the original. And with that scene gone, all you just got is Kiefer Sutherland turning up 3 or 4 times.
He's actually in it?
He's actually in it 3 or 4 times. They never acknowledge who he is.
So he's not the same character.
But this is the thing.
Well,
he seems to be, but they never acknowledge it. And I think there's a scene that kind of tells you that. Also, it's just ridiculous that these kids are doing the same thing that he was 20 years ago, and it never comes up.
Strange.
So, yeah, it is really, really lazy and uninspired. I can't tell who it's for, except for people who really love the production value of The Flash and Arrow and The Vampire Diaries and basically every CW show that's filmed in Vancouver.
Shout out to John's dad.
Shout out to John's dad, exactly, yeah. And the problem is it has no more ambition than that. It's pretty ropey. It really, I mean...
Does it flatline?
It does. It's a very fitting title. Do we have any tweets on this matter? I must ask.
We do, and I have to say, Twitter pretty much agrees with you. So,
oh, good. I'm glad the public and I are in line for a change.
Yeah, so we've got a tweet here from Sean Sheehan BA.
Okay.
And he says, went to see Flatliners. It's the single dumbest film ever made. Light your money on fire before going to see it.
Funnily enough, we were talking about this the other day, and Kermod's response was, does anyone even remember Flatliners? Of course no one's going to see it. But you know what? It's made £500,000, so I think they'll call that a win for now.
Number 4.
Goodbye, Christopher Robin.
More tea, Vicar. It's very much a stiff upper lippy, sort of, Winnie the Pooh, sir. May I have a scone? I like a Donald Gleeson in it, and I like... Actually, no, I like Donald Gleeson in it. That's about it. It's kind of charming for the bits that they allow Donald Gleeson to be Donald Gleeson and enjoy themselves A.A. Milne. The problem is the rest of it, it's very much a film that has been hacked to death after the fact. The third act has been reduced to about 10 minutes at the end. And even then, you kind of come away from it thinking, well, that can't possibly have happened because it's ridiculous.
It's meant to be the real story as well,
It's meant to be the real story. It wants to be Finding Neverland. It's not. It's certainly no Saving Mr. Banks. And really, I just come away from it thinking, if you give me a similar film next time about the guy who wrote, I don't know, Bambi, I feel like even that would feel less of a stretch than this one.
I don't think I'd ever watch that. I can't even watch Bambi.
I feel like that story's going to be like the true story of a guy and his beloved pet deer who died. Yeah. So what's Twitter got on the matter?
Well, people seem to really like this thing.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah. So we've got at Mark Shep _ LCFC.
Okay.
I guess that's a football club.
Leicester City?
Could be. Sure.
I don't know.
He says, Goodbye, Christopher Robin was the biggest emotional roller coaster I've ever been on. Incredible film. The kid's adorable, man. Great actor.
Oh, good. No, Will Tilston is truly terrible in this. Honest to God, he's absolutely awful.
Is he as bad as the girl that played Sophie in BFG? Because I hated that performance.
I know you did. I disagree. No, he's more annoying.
Number 3.
Victoria and Abdul.
I love Victoria. I love Abdul. I'm particularly a big fan of Bertie, though, who's, of course, Eddie Izzard. I think he steals this film, which I found very, very good. I thought was really funny, really soulful, really cheerful, and until it wasn't. And then when it wasn't, it really... That was the big... I think that's what your last tweet guy was talking about. This is the emotional roller coaster, not Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
No, you can give Christopher Robin a send-off and just go on this. This has far more of an emotional wallop than Goodbye, Christopher Robin. I really liked it. I think it is a case of good cast, of good, solid casting, a screenplay that knows its station, it knows what it wants to be, it injects just the right amount of gravitas in it. And, yeah, I'm sold. Does Twitter agree with me at all?
They do, I have to say. So I've got a tweet here, and I've no idea how to say this person's name, but at Italnaya? Sure, we'll go with that. And she says, OMG, go see Victoria and Abdul. Fabulous. Bring tissues. Dame Judi Dench is resplendent, but Ali Fazal will absolutely steal your heart. He's
just got like a massive Hollywood agent as well.
Oh, wow.
So obviously this film's had an impact. We will see him in other things. I don't think you describe him as resplendent, however.
Well.
Even though he absolutely deserves it.
Number 2.
Hiya, Georgie.
It.
I love it.
I liked it.
I really like it.
I didn't love it. I liked it.
I really liked it, and as more time has gone by, I love it more and more and more. Now I actually love it.
I do want to go and see it again. I've only seen it the once.
Oh, well, same. So, yeah, I'd like to see it again.
Let's go together.
Let's do that. I really liked it. I thought it had a really, really confident and abrasive sensibility that it really needed. The fact that this is someone's second movie is astounding.
Yeah.
I think Pennywise is really well cast. I think that performance is genuinely brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it's so brilliant. I think it'll actually hurt him going forward when he tries to do regular non-makeup enhanced roles, because no one will know it's him.
True.
Which is going to be the thing. I think if you try to sell an action movie with this guy, it's like, hey, it's the dude who played, starred in It. And you're like, who? We don't recognise him. Okay.
He's going to have to dye his hair red and just kind of shave back the hairline.
He's going to have to be a ginger forever.
Cool.
This guy has to be a ginger forever now. He's basically screwed himself. Like, no matter what his hair colour, he has to be ginger now. But ginger pale all the time. Anyway, just so the kids are mostly good except for Finn Wolfhard, who sucks for the first half of the movie, and then when they give him something to do, he's all right. And he's good, yeah. But yeah, the chills are there, the atmosphere's there. The scares aren't necessarily there, but
True.
The chills and the atmosphere are. And that's, frankly, that's the best result, I think, from a Stephen King movie. Stephen King movies aren't outright horror films. They never have been. Stephen King is all about atmosphere, and this film nails that.
True.
So, any tweets for me?
We do. So, one that I enjoyed from @Corvains_3. And he says, the It movie was creepy, funny, and emotional as F. The feels.
Was the as F as feels? I'm kidding. We'll just leave that there.
Number 1.
Manners maketh man.
Of course, it's Kingsman, The Golden Circle.
And I'd rather watch Men in Black 2 again. I'd rather watch G.I. Joe Retaliation again. I'd rather watch... What's an awful sequel? I'd rather watch Smurfs 2 again.
Not Smurfs 2.
I'd rather watch the Smurfs 2 again than ever see Kingsman The Golden Circle again. I thought it was abhorrent. I thought it wasn't funny. I thought it wasn't entertaining. I thought it was uninteresting. I thought it was actually kind of nasty. It turns out that if you take the first movie and you remove the sharpness and the intelligence from the jokes, what's left is actually just dark and nasty. And there is a 10-minute long sequence in this movie that I think you really could have just released that in cinemas and you would have come away with the same result as actually releasing the entire film. And no, I think it is truly one of the worst films of the year. I think that it's a sequel to a movie as good as Kingsman was is mortifying. I think it proves once and for all that even Matthew Vaughn can't follow up a Matthew Vaughn movie, and we should all be very grateful here and now that he never directed X-Men Days of Future Past, because we would have had a similar result by all accounts. And no, I think that should be the rule. Matthew Vaughn movies do not get sequels. This is the rule. This should be the rule. Forevermore. I don't care. If he does Flash Gordon, I never want to see Flash Gordon 2, no matter who makes it. Because even Matthew Vaughn can't make a decent sequel to a Matthew Vaughn movie. Look at Kick-Ass 2, which incidentally is a better movie than this. So I know Twitter loves it. Please give me one of the tweets that tell me it's amazing.
Twitter loves it, and last week I was telling you as such, so I thought I would find someone who might agree a little more with you.
Oh, God. You found a sane person.
I found a
sane person on Twitter.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. So this
Talk
is
about ice skating uphill.
Hammy Reviews.
Okay.
Hammy Reviews. Well, there you go.
Okay. Reviews based on pork products.
And he says, well, Kingsman The Golden Circle was a bit of a mess, wasn't it?
I think that's understating it somewhat dramatically, but yeah, it's just awful. I mean, genuinely, I didn't laugh once. I really didn't.
Times.
I mean, and I say not laugh once. This is an action comedy that goes on for 2.25 hours.
It's long. Was the first one that long?
I think the first was just a shade over 2 hours, like a minute or two over 2 hours. But this way, I think I mentioned this when I did the review. There was a point in the film in which I checked my watch because I had to know how much longer it was left.
Ultimate sign of boredom.
Yeah. And do you know that movie The Spirit? I checked my watch in The Spirit once. We were 15 minutes into the movie.
That's really bad.
Yeah, that's how bad The Spirit was. But you know what? At least it starred the man who should be Batman. This movie, I checked my watch because I thought this has got to be nearly over. There was an hour and a half left.
That is bad.
That's terrible.
But you know what? The money that it's making, I would not be surprised if we get Kingsman 3.
Oh, I wouldn't be terribly surprised at all. And I really hope we don't.
I mean, this is what, week number 2, is it?
Yep.
And it made over 4 million.
2, yeah. Give me some film news to cheer me up. Is there anything? Just give me like a 30-second.
Well, I'll give you, this one I'm really excited about.
Okay.
And it's something that's been talked about and debunked and da-da-da, but it's finally apparently happening. And you tell me it's not fake news, please.
Okay, all right.
Hocus Pocus.
Right, okay. This story has evolved in the couple of days since it came out.
Oh, man, no.
Right, there is a Hocus Pocus 2 being made.
Oh, so it is 2, it's not a reboot.
Well, no, actually, that's the thing. Right, there is a second Hocus Pocus being made.
Okay.
It is a reboot.
Okay.
It is being made for television.
Oh.
Yes, and it will not star any of the original cast.
Oh. No.
Yeah, I know. That's a shame, isn't it?
But is it meant to be the same character?
I have no idea, to be honest. The story came out because the director of the first movie had said it is being worked on. As far as I know, that cast will come back. And then within 24 hours, it had been changed to, yes, it's being done for television. That cast won't be back.
Which one ruined it? Because my money's on Sarah Jessica Parker.
I'd imagine it would just cost too much to get Sarah Jessica Parker back now.
What? Is she famous anymore?
No, but she's one of those actresses who has that sort of weird value of her own work. I mean, she's on HBO now. She's got an HBO series called Divorce. But,
sounds about right.
Yeah. Oh, incidentally, speaking of Sarah Jessica Parker, apparently, as of this week, Sex and the City 3 is dead. It's never going to happen. Thank you, God.
I was expecting you to have an ident there of ding dong.
I'm so happy that I never have to sit through another god-awful Sex and the City. That second one is, oh my God, it's so bad.
It's one of those films where you, like, I don't know, where you feel like, am I actually watching the film here?
I reached a point with the second one when I was just rolling my eyes thinking, I'm genuinely watching a movie in, what was it, 2009? 2009. I'm genuinely watching a movie in which a wealthy middle-aged white woman is complaining because her husband bought a TV instead of jewelry. First world problems. Yeah. I mean, you could literally have called that movie #First World Problems.
See, I'd be the opposite way around. If John bought me jewellery over a TV, I'd be upset. There you go.
You would. You absolutely would. Like, bitch, where's my 4K? Right, so let's do a review real quick then. Let's talk about The Glass Castle.
Let's do it.
Okay, so The Glass Castle, which is based on a novel of the same name, true story, biography. This is the story of a young girl who is raised in a nomadic family. I think it's in the 60s, 70s. She's raised in a nomadic family. Her father is quite clearly mentally ill in some unspecified way, in ways that involve him disappearing for days at a time, drinking and getting into physical altercations, things like that. And he basically keeps dragging his family around the country, living in squats, effectively, and raising his family, his kids as dreamers. And he himself never really working, never having any money, anything like that, fancying himself as a sort of artist of the world type. He's played by Woody Harrelson. And 20 years later, once one of the daughters is all grown up, she's Brie Larson in 1989, I think, although it looks like about 1986.
A good year.
A good year. And really, it's about how in her adult years she tries to reconnect and straighten out her parents' lives. We have a clip of her meeting with her mother for the first time in many years. The mother, incidentally, is Naomi Watts. And here is their lunch date.
Oh, your dad said he saw you pass by in a cab the other night. Acted like we weren't even there. You shouldn't be ashamed of us just because we choose a different lifestyle than you.
Being homeless in New York City does not count as a lifestyle choice.
Well, if we heard from you more, you'd know that we found a lovely place on the Lower East Side.
Lori says you're squatting in an abandoned building. That does not sound safe, Mom.
When did you lose your sense of adventure?
I have a little bit of money now. I can help you if you want.
We're fine. You're the one who needs help. Look at you. Pure values are all confused.
Okay, so funny thing about this, in the actual true story, they were on the run from the government, the family.
Oh.
And yeah, that's not really a factor in the film. And now credit to him, Woody Harrelson is going through this renaissance in recent years. And I'm very glad that he is, because I think Woody Harrelson's a genuinely terrific actor.
He's fantastic.
And I think he's one of the few who can do comedy and do drama and do the dramedy in between really, really well. Yeah. And I think he's absolutely heartbreaking here. I think the problem is that the film around him is in no way up to the quality level that he is. And this includes, unfortunately, Brie Larson, who I want to just remind you, less than 2 years ago, won an Oscar for Best Actress.
And deservedly so.
Deservedly so. And I'd like to point you to the two films she's made since, which are this and Kong Skull Island. And I know both will have been greenlit before she got that Oscar, but hot damn does she need to fire her agent. Never in the history of the Academy has an Oscar winner so badly needed their Marvel movie to come soon.
Oh, yeah, of course. She's Captain Marvel. Right?
She actually needs that because it's the only way we know we're going to see a good Brie Larson movie again anytime soon. Do you remember The Book of Henry?
Yes.
Right? It was about 6 months ago? Something? Less than 6 months ago.
Less than that, yeah.
3 or 4 months ago. How that was this really dark, twisted movie about child death and paedophiles and attempted murder, but dressed up in a really twee, cutesy package. Welcome to the mental health version of that.
Oh, wow.
This is a story about such themes as mental health, of effectively psychological child abuse,
Nice.
about the weird love story between a man and his daughter.
What?
I know. And yet it's all played in this cutesy twee thing. Brie Larson doesn't seem to know how to play this other than I'm just in a mood. No emotional range to that. I'm just in a mood, but when the story calls for it, I'll shed a begrudging tear. And it feels so mechanical. It does feel like she's the Brie droid.
It's such a shame when you know she can do so much.
I know. She's so much better than this, and I think a large part of what's wrong with the film is all down to Destin Daniel Cretton, who's the writer-director on this, who doesn't seem to know how to handle the material, in the same way that Colin Trevorrow didn't know how to handle the Book of Henry. Thank God he doesn't have a Star Wars movie in the pipeline, because he'd be off that by this time next week.
He's probably in the pipeline somewhere.
Yeah. I'm sure in her head Kathleen Kennedy has just fired him from a movie that she never hired him on. And you know what? I'll be honest, if I'd made this movie, I would deserve to be sacked as well. I came away from it thinking, if it's a glass castle, it's a severely cracked one. Put it that way.
With the latest film news and reviews, this is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
Welcome back. So, should we go for the Gipper? I'm a big fan of the Gipper.
The Gipper?
The Gipper. You know that's Reagan's nickname.
Well, I do now.
Okay, well, that was his... Did you never watch 30 Rock? Because Alec Baldwin used to habitually refer to him as the Gipper.
I just didn't know what he was talking about.
Well, obviously, I'm obsessed with 30 Rock and American Dad, so there's a lot of Reagan in my entertainment. And I've always thought there's a sort of absence, there's a void that needs filling, and in the sort of the cult of Reagan. We need a good documentary. And leave it to my boys at CNN to fill that gap. Because CNN are on a roll lately with the documentary thing. I'll explain why in a minute. Basically, this is made to look like an old VHS recording.
Ooh.
Okay. It is, and for a good reason. The entire thing is archival. There's no modern footage, no modern voices, no talking heads, nothing like that. Okay. This is all filmed at the time footage.
Old stuff.
And it begins with a caption that tells us the Reagan administration was the first presidency in US history to exist at a point when video technology had reached a certain technological level and allowed them to document everything. Mm-hmm. Given that he came from a Hollywood background anyway, because obviously Reagan was the actor who became the president and gave us the greatest joke in Back to the Future, the whole thing was that he understood you should be using this technology to document everything.
Right.
And we get a lot of that here. It's actually stated that his administration recorded more material than the 3 administrations before him. Wow. So, yeah, and then and it opens, as he's saying this, it literally opens with an address, Sununu. It opens with an address of Ronald Reagan trying to pledge his support for a governmental candidate, Sununu, and he keeps getting his name wrong. And we see for the first time these outtakes of Ronald Reagan trying to pronounce the name Sununu? Sununu. Why did he have to be called Sununu? Actually, something's like, why is he called Sununu?
Why is he called Sununu?
I don't know. I'll be honest, I saw it written down, I just thought, Snoo? So it really is a sort of peek behind the Gipper's curtain, as it were, but it's all using footage that he himself has sanctioned.
Why is he called the Gipper?
I don't know. Maybe because by all accounts, whenever anyone was in a room with him, all they could do was gip. But, but no, we get a lot of opinions of him from that time as well, like pundits at the time, what they thought of him, what he thought his legacy was going to be, what the perception of Nancy Reagan was, things like that. And we have a clip. I'll play for you now.
Together, we'll make America great again.
I think appearance is very important, but it's also staging. It's how you stage the message.
This is not for me, honey.
It's a game.
That's it.
Super!
Well, if you'll pardon my stealing a film line, the Force is with us.
You have stated flatly that you did not trade weapons for hostages.
What began as a strategic opening to Iran deteriorated in its implementation.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
So obviously, I'm guessing you're not overly familiar with Reaganomics and the Reagan era. Right. So this is the latest CNN documentary. This comes from Sierra Pettigill and Pasha Velez. CNN documentary has been on my mind a lot lately because I don't know if you know this about me. I watch a lot of documentaries as sort of background viewing, and they almost always wind up sucking me in. It's the best kind of documentary. I know it's a personality flaw of mine. But lately, I watched the history of comedy and a series called The 90s, both of which were CNN documentaries, and both of which were absolutely brilliant. So when I was sat waiting for this to start, they had to be the press notes. It says on the top, CNN films. Oh my God, can't wait. I was overjoyed. Watching the film as well, it does keep that quality level going. It's a fascinating documentary, and I think it's fascinating because there is no modern context applied to it.
Right.
And that's something that even the other two CNN documentaries I watched recently had. They had a modern sensibility applied to them. This is very much this is how it was, and this is how it was seen then.
So kind of an unbiased view.
Very unbiased. There's no historical retrospect applied to it at all.
I like documentaries like that.
Yeah, this is very much this is then, and that's what they thought of him then. There's no legacy on there, anything like that. That's all this is. And I very much respected it for that, because I think with Reagan, he's still quite a divisive figure, especially when you start hearing lines like, "Let's make America great again."
When you saw me, I kind of
you literally gasped, because I think it's more a look of confusion, I think, than anything else. But yes, you can draw certain parallels, certain aspirational parallels in there with recent events, which... they paint Reagan in more of a positive light, actually, if you do apply that retrospect. And I'm glad that they didn't do that to the film. Yeah. I'm glad the film doesn't have a modern context applied to it, because I worry that would have diluted it, and I think now would have overshadowed then. Yeah. And having said that, there is a level of bluntness to this, which comes out of, at the time, there's no historical whitewashing. There's no, he's not with us anymore, so we'll go easy on him. Yeah. That sort of painting the dead as saints kind of a thing. There's none of that in there. And I think that having foregone that is the smartest thing this film has done. I was intrigued by it. I was fascinated by it. I actually want to watch it again.
Is this going to be like mainstream release then, or?
This is the thing. It's a CNN movie. It's being distributed in this country by Dogwoof, which would generally suggest that it's an art house release. Then again, occasionally a Dogwoof film does slip through. Things like Blackfish leap to mind, things like that. Yeah. But I would say you're not going to see this on multiplex, I don't say. But if you have got an art house chain near you, you will. In the case of Sheffield, for instance, you'll get Showroom or Curzon, or both. But worth checking out. Having said that, the CNN type documentaries are starting to turn up on TV a lot lately, on films like things like Film 4, Blackfish, things like that, BBC 2. Yeah, so you will see this on telly, I would guess, in a year, maybe? It'll be on a streaming service before then, though, and I cannot recommend highly enough that you check it out. It is definitely worth seeing. So, give me some news real quick.
Well, let's talk about a live-action remake that's been written for J.J. Abrams, something called Your Name.
Oh, yes. Okay, this baffled me. Right, you're not familiar with the film, then?
I have no idea. I've never seen or heard of it before.
Okay, Your Name is an anime movie that got reissued, actually, in August, in IMAX. It got tremendously positive reviews in this country from certain critics.
Interesting.
Three high-profile critics absolutely loved this film.
When's it from? When was it originally out?
When did I see it? I think it was the end of last year. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was press shown at the end of last year. I think it came out a few months after that. It's basically a body swap movie.
Oh, okay.
It's a body swap. It's a teenage guy and a teenage girl.
Freaky Friday.
Swap bodies. They wake up. They keep waking up. They then revert back to their own bodies. And they leave each other messages through a smartphone app. So they're actually communicating with one another whilst they're in one another's bodies.
Wait, hang on. So they swap, but they swap back?
Yes. Regularly? It's whenever they go to sleep. When they go to sleep, they wake up in the other person's body, then they go to sleep again, they wake back up in their own.
Sure.
Right? That's it. And their connection somehow ties into the arrival of an asteroid that's going to wipe out the entire region.
Da, da, da.
Yeah. It's a bonkers concept, actually, but it was gorgeous to look at. I can see the potential in doing an English language version. That is live action, I find strange, but okay. J.J. Abrams is directing it. Fair enough. He's got a handle on the fantastical. Why not? But yeah. I wonder if this is going to be over at Paramount, though, because I think he owes them one at this stage.
I expect as well, though, that this might be another one of the kind of whitewashing scandals that comes out soon enough.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, this is totally going to star Nat Wolff. This is Nat Wolff and Lily Collins. You can sort of see that now. This is like,
do it, Hollywood.
Set in Seattle and Chicago, rather than Japan. Absolutely the case. But okay, should we talk a real quick one? Should we talk about On the Road?
Let's do it. What's it about?
Okay. It's about the band Wolf Alice, who, I'm going to be...
Alice.
Yeah, exactly. Who the hell is Alice? I know. Right, so straight off the bat, I'm going to be really honest. You know me in music. I have no idea who Wolf Alice are.
Oh, so this is a real band.
They're a real band. This is 80% a documentary.
80%? Ooh, intriguing.
80%, right, okay. So, did you ever see 9 Songs? Years and years. Right, that was a Michael Winterbottom film. It was a romance, an entire relationship played out in scenes set between live performances by actual bands. Yeah. And what he would do is take the actors to actual gigs and film them doing dialogue at an actual gig. Okay. Similar thing here. Michael Winterbottom has inserted actors, 2 actors specifically, into as sort of management reps with this actual band who are on an actual tour.
Okay.
Right. I think that's about as well as I can explain it. I'll tell you what. Cue the clip.
Have you ever been to Manchester? No. Have you ever been to York?
No.
Have you ever been to Dublin?
Yeah.
You been to Dublin?
No.
Wolf Alice! What's it like to be so wanted everywhere you go?
Amazing. Have you actually slept?
Have you had a drink tonight? I'm worried about you not having enough fun.
You better sleeping with your head up that side.
Why?
If you crash and your head's that way, then your head will get smashed in.
This is one very much designed for the audience that liked 9 Songs, but really didn't want hardcore sex scenes to be part of the menu. And that's about the best review you can give it, because actually not dissimilar in many other ways, other than the removal of the graphic sex scene, the fact that the graphic sex scenes, because that was the whole thing with 9 Songs.
Okay.
It was unsimulated sex.
Was it?
It was, yes, very obviously. It was very, very obviously completely real.
I find that a strange concept.
Yeah, it was very weird to see in the context of a narrative film, put it that way. Well, a narrative film in the English language, anyway. Yeah. This has very much all of the hallmarks of a Michael Winterbottom film. He knows how to shoot these things by now. He knows his style. This is the guy that made 24 Hour Party, people. He knows how to film music stuff. He does. Yeah. And he knows how to get the grime, the gristle, how to make you feel the sweat, how to make you just have that stench in the air just wafting through your nostrils. He knows how to film that. And he's not skipped a beat with that. To give him all the credit in the world, he's absolutely not missed a step. Where it falls apart for me slightly is actually in the narrative portions of it, is the wooden nature of it, because having, real world stuff going on around actors, you do noticeably feel they are actors. You never quite settle into it. And I think that's a shame. I also found as well, the actual documentary stuff that's going on is interesting enough that it could just have been a tour documentary, and I'd have been fine with it. But being what it is, it feels kind of formless and shapeless and ultimately kind of pointless. There's lots of little narrative things. The 2 fictional characters in the middle of it, for instance, have a sort of a romance element, but it never goes anywhere. It never gets any kind of resolution, no closure, nothing. There's other elements. I think the bass player at one point breaks his arm or something. And
that's bad for a band.
Well, you do think as well, okay, but what's the result of this? Nothing. This has no relevance to the plot whatsoever, because there is no plot.
I was just going to say, I still can't really get a grasp on what this thing's about.
Well, there you go. But you know what? It's got the atmosphere, it's got the Michael Winterbottom technique down, and I'll put up with more of this if he's going to keep making series of The Trip. How about that? I'll call it a day on that one. If he keeps making more series of The Trip with Rob Brydon and Steve Coogan, I'll let him have this every 5 years.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen. The on-screen radio show.
Dead or Alive, You're Coming With Me. So, we're back. So, should we we've got to do the biggie, and we'll skip this for the film news bit and just get to the biggie because we're pushed for time.
Let's do it.
So, Blade Runner 2049 is here. How well do you know Blade Runner, the first one?
I'm ashamed to say I've never seen it.
Okay, fair enough.
How bad is that?
Okay, let me give you the Cliff Notes version. It was set in 2019.
Yep.
Ridley Scott movie set in 2019. Starred Harrison Ford, Sean Young, Rutger Hauer, Edward James Olmos. So many stars in there. Leon Rippey, Daryl Hannah, Adrian Barbeau. I can go forever. I really can. Okay, it was an amazing looking film. It was stunning. It was a work of sci-fi art. It was a boring movie, but it was incredible.
That's the bit. That's why I've never watched it.
Exactly. Okay, I love Blade Runner. I'll watch it 1 billion times, but by Lord, it's boring. Anyway, right. So, the general plot is replicants are a thing. They are androids who are designed to only live for a certain number of years and then die. They are used as slave labor. In the plot of the first movie, one of these has gone rogue. Well, sorry, several of them have gone rogue. They have infiltrated society, and a specialized police officer known as a Blade Runner, for no reason other than the fact that it just sounds cool, is sent to take them out one by one. That is the plot of the movie. Okay. Now, here is the plot, spoiler heavy, of Blade Runner 2049. Yeah, I ain't telling you. I am telling you nothing. Okay,
I was literally like, "Oh, he's gonna spoil it."
I'll give you. This is the thing. We were asked. Actually, we read out a note from Denis Villeneuve before the film about, can you please not say certain things?
Okay.
And the thing is, there's a lot of them. And I'll be honest, I went into the film relatively cold, and I thought my experience was better for it. So I'm going to give you the coldest, plainest, shortest version of this plot. There's a new Blade Runner. It's 30 years later. The new Blade Runner is played by Ryan Gosling, because why not? He has an investigation involving replicants, a new iteration, I think it's the 3rd generation along of replicants. And the thing he immediately discovers about this new breed is that there is something that could potentially change the entire world forever. And it's the best looking film you've ever seen. I'll tell you what, here's a clip.
Every leap of civilization was built off the back of slaves. Replicants are the future, but I can only make so many. I had the lock, and he has the key. I think I found him.
That's not possible. If this gets out, we've bought ourselves a war.
Right, there's Robin Wright you can hear in there as well. You can hear Jared Leto in there. Right, there is an amazing cast here, and they are in what actually genuinely could qualify as one of the greatest sequels to any movie ever made. Ooh. And I say that with the caveat that this is still quite a boring movie.
Oh.
Right? If you don't like Blade Runner, there is not a chance in hell you will like Blade Runner 2049.
So you have to have seen Blade Runner.
You have to have seen it, and you have to like Blade Runner for what it is.
Okay.
There is this weird thing going around this past week with people, talking about Blade Runner 2049 and complaining about it being quite dull. And they're doing it in the context of the first movie having been this weird action thriller, which it never was. It was a hard-boiled detective, sci-fi detective novel for the screen. This is the same thing. Only, guess what? Denis Villeneuve is a better director than Ridley Scott. And he has Roger Deakins. And Roger Deakins is probably one of the... Well, not probably. He could be the best cinematographer around these days. He's definitely one of them. I'd go with Roger Deakins, Hoyt van Hoytema, who did Dunkirk, and Wally Pfister, who unfortunately gave up doing Christopher Nolan movies to go and do Transcendence for some reason. Anyway, it is gorgeous. Have you ever seen the Twitter account, One Perfect Shot?
I haven't.
Right, it's a Twitter feed that literally just posts amazing looking shots from movies.
Okay.
Imagine that Twitter feed as a 2.5 hour movie.
Oh man, though, 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Whole movie.
It's not dull. It's just, it is interesting, obviously, because I've never seen it before. It is interesting. The performances are very good. Harrison Ford is surprisingly good in this, actually, because he's reprising the character from the first movie.
I really want to know how they do that. Don't tell me.
Okay, I'm confused how.
But he's young, isn't he?
No, he's Harrison Ford, as 70-year-old Harrison Ford.
I thought he was one of these replicant things.
Oh, no, that's a whole thing. That's a whole theory. I'll tell you about the podcast extras. How about that?
Let's do it.
It's a long-standing thing.
Okay.
I say this as someone whose friend is just mortally obsessed with Blade Runner, but to the extent of doing documentaries on Blade Runner.
Wow.
But, no, literally, entire document. Never mind.
More exciting than the film?
Actually, strangely, yes, but not as good looking. That's it. Don't take this as a date movie, unless you happen to be dating someone who really likes Blade Runner, in which case they'll love this. But here's the thing with it. It is just an astonishing film. It is gorgeous. It is enthralling. It is an immersive, captivating experience. It is the most visually stunning thing you will see this year that isn't animated.
Nice.
It is also, weirdly, one of the greatest auditory experiences?
Oral?
It's not an oral experience, no, Cal.
Not that kind of oral.
Auditory experience. It is just amazing. The music, the sound mix, the use of sound within it is phenomenal. And I saw this, because there was a press show earlier on that was in IMAX. I was
going to say, I presume this is
I
IMAX.
missed that out to go and do a Dolby Atmos screening.
Do you regret it now?
No, not at all, because the visuals are going to be amazing no matter how you see the film. But I would suggest seeking out the best sound system you can for this. It is really something. You could sit and watch this movie with your eyes closed and just be swept away by it. It is really something. This will make top 10 lists easily at the end of the year.
Nice.
And all this, despite the fact that if Blade Runner bored you, this will put you into a coma.
Oh, man.
But if Blade Runner didn't bore you and you respect Blade Runner for what it is, congratulations. You've got a sequel that finally lives up to its predecessor. A sequel that builds on exactly what made the first one great. And that's it.
Take that, Kingsman.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. 2 weeks ago we had Kingsman, now we have Blade Runner. Oh my God, literally worlds of difference. Now, excuse me, I'll go and cry tears in the rain. So, film of the week. We need to pick a film of the week.
Oh, shocking. I wonder what it's going to be.
Oh, well, actually, that's the thing. I'm going to give it to Blade Runner. Even though I've been very upfront about the fact that you could sit through this and be bored senseless. Okay, but...
Yeah, but that's a low bar.
Yeah, but you'll come away, though, and still think, it was gorgeous. It sounded really cool. It's like no other experience I've had this year. So, fair enough, really.
Awesome.
Okay, so, next week...
What's coming up?
We've got some interesting stuff and some less interesting stuff. Okay, so we've got a documentary, Earth, One Amazing Day.
Ooh.
About that place, Earth. We've got The Ritual, starring that great thespian, Rafe Spall.
Ooh, horror?
Horror film, yeah, about boys going on a hiking trip in Eastern Europe, I think.
Okay.
We've got The Party, which I know nothing about, except that it's got a really great cast.
Okay.
So, yeah. We've got Loving Vincent.
Who's Vincent? Why do we love him?
Van Gogh.
Ah.
He's Vincent Van Gogh. It's supposedly a bio... actually seen it. It's supposedly a biopic about Van Gogh. And it's actually animated in the style of Van Gogh paintings. They filmed it and then rotoscoped it with actual oil paintings.
Nice.
And it stars Douglas Booth and Aidan Turner and Chris O'Dowd and a whole heap of great actors in there.
Cool.
We've also got a horror movie I'm dying to see called Double Date.
Double Date,
which looks like a very Edgar Wright-ish kind of a tone.
Oh, okay.
Edgar Wright Prevenge kind of a tone as well. We've also got the Lego Ninjago movie next week.
Oh, man.
So this could be awesome. It could also be terrible. We've also got the 30th anniversary reissue of Hellraiser next week, which I'm looking forward to. I've never seen Hellraiser on a big screen. So
no, me neither.
That's my final pressure of next week, so I'm looking forward to that. And the reason it's my final one is because I will be seeing The Snowman the night before Michael Fassbender takes on a serial killer.
I really thought you meant the animated Christmas classic.
You really think we're not going to run that joke into the ground? Come on, you're better than that. You know we're not that good. Right, so just a reminder, on our competition section, we have DVDs and Blu-rays to give away. They include The Red Turtle, they include The Exception, they include Song to Song, starring the star of Blade Runner 2049 in a less amazing movie. And so, all those to be found and more on onscreenfilm.com. In the meanwhile, well, this has been a candy store production for On Screen. I've been Bangkok.
I've been Kelly Needham.
And we'll be back.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Off Screen. For more news and reviews, visit onscreenfilm.com.
podcast extras then, Ms. Needham. So, should we start with some news?
Let's do it.
Take me to Newstown. What you got for me?
Well, since we were just talking about him, we might as well carry on.
Okay. Denis.
Oh, Denis.
Okay.
Apparently he's been eyeing up the Cleopatra biopic.
Yes, this has been around for a long time. Right, before they had seemingly had a script or anything like that, there was just a rumour. This goes back about 7 or 8 years.
Really?
There was just a rumour, because I think it's Sony now.
Yes.
And I remember, I might be wrong, but I seem to remember it being Warner Brothers once upon a time. An Angelina Jolie starring Cleopatra movie.
Oh, wow.
And you can kind of see it in a weird way. Although I would maintain, I think now a certain Miss Vikander would be more suited. But
I think we'd also be going back down the whitewashing route as well.
Well, yeah, but also Vikander would kind of balance that out a little better than
definitely better than Jolie.
But I don't get it. I mean, I obviously I'm a big outspoken. I'm outspoken against Antonio Banderas playing Arabs, which he seems to do an awful lot. But Frida Pinto could kind of, because she did play an Arab in a movie with Antonio Banderas.
Did she?
Black Gold. Yeah, remember that one? Yeah, we all kind of forgot about that. My dad didn't. He loved it.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah.
If he loved it, then she can pull it off.
We should mention, our listeners probably don't know my dad's Egyptian, so there we are.
Well, presumably not.
Although I did point out to him recently that there is an excessive number of films this year dealing with Cairo in the last decade. Yeah, seems to be a thing. We forgot to include Six Below in the films that are out next week. The Josh Hartnett one.
Oh.
It's Josh Hartnett stuck on a mountain. So it's like the mountain between me rather than the mountain between us.
But who knew he was still an actor?
Only Josh Hartnett.
He just always had it within him.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, before we get to that, let's talk about Denis Villeneuve.
Yes.
Denis Villeneuve is looking to direct that now, but let's be honest, he's got a very full workload. I mean, there's still that rumour that he might go Bond. You know, in which case that would have to happen before he did Dune, which, having now seen Blade Runner, I really want to see him do.
Wait, can we just go back to Bond? Who is Bond now? I can't.
Daniel Craig's doing it one more time.
He's doing it one more time.
Okay. Yeah. And I would love it if that was the title. One more time.
Who would sing it this time?
Daniel Craig is Ian Fleming's James Bond in One More Time. That would absolutely work. And I don't know who you get to do the song nowadays.
I don't know.
Do you ever notice that every time there's a new Bond movie, it's usually that you can usually set your watch by how long it takes for someone to print a false report that Beyonce's doing the theme song.
Yes.
Every time now.
Maybe they would just flip it out and she would actually do it this time, though.
Maybe. There was another rumour that they were going to get Adele back again.
Oh, but it's been done. I mean, she was amazing.
Not unheard of, though. Shirley Bassey did a couple.
Maybe they should bring her back.
Bring Shirley Bassey back now. Wow. That would be something. That really would be something. I'd like to see Tina Turner do another one.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Because I love GoldenEye. I love everything about GoldenEye.
Yes.
But
I think it's pretty much the only one that I can stand to watch.
Really?
Sorry, Bond fans. I'm sorry.
Do you know what? GoldenEye is one of 3 movies in a row, Bond-wise, that I actually really like. And for me, perfectly represent Bond. And that's GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, Will's Not Enough. And I think they make a kind of really good little trilogy, all of themselves, because Pierce Brosnan's Bond does strangely evolve through them. And then he gets to die another day and becomes a completely different fictional cartoon character.
Shocking for Bond.
Shocking for Bond, I know. Becomes a Roger Moore Bond again. But yeah, Denis Villeneuve is apparently Daniel Craig's choice for that, but he wants this Cleopatra one. It is based on an upcoming biography that's been written, I think something called Cleopatra A Life.
Okay.
Which is meant to be sort of the definitive text on the life of Cleopatra. But the story is meant to focus on Cleopatra's legacy as a brilliant tactician and a master negotiator.
Ooh.
Which, if you ever saw this, did you ever see the series Rome?
Yes.
No, I really liked Rome. You got a bit of a taste of it in that, if you remember. Yeah, I really liked how they depicted Cleopatra in that. So
this would be the movie version.
Sort of movie equivalent, yeah. I mean, because I think the only thing we remember the Elizabeth Taylor one for really now is the spectacle.
Probably.
Yeah. You don't really remember that film for anything else.
To be fair, we've not seen anything on Cleopatra really for a long time.
Well, 60 years, really, isn't it?
Could be pretty good. I imagine it's probably still a while away, though.
Oh, like I say, I mean, he may have Bond. He's definitely got Dune. And then that's like 6 years. Because Bond has a release date. At the end, Bond has a release date for end of 2019.
Okay.
So if Denis Villeneuve's going to do that, it has to be next.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
We'll see then.
It would mean that you wouldn't see Dune until about 2020, 2021. And then Cleopatra would have to be like 22, 23. Yeah. So, yeah, it's funny how these things
Film
work.
Timelines.
Anything else? Anything else in the old
so Ike Barinholtz, he's going to make his directorial debut.
Yes, you got to remind me the title. On that
The
one.
Oath.
Right, okay, so this is basically a holiday comedy.
Oh, okay.
Right, I think it's Thanksgiving.
I don't know why it sounds like a horror movie. The Oath.
It doesn't. It sounds like a Purge sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Purge, The Oath. Right, so he's doing The Oath, which is set in a sort of, not a dystopian future, but a future America in which citizens are required to take a citizenship oath.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how this ties in, but it's about a family man trying to survive the Thanksgiving holiday with his family, just putting up with them.
Right.
So I don't know how those two elements work their way into one another, but, you know.
Is he going to star in it?
He's going to star in it, produce it, write it, and direct it. Oh. So, yeah, it is pitched as a high-concept indie movie.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm okay with that. I like Ike Barinholtz quite a great deal. And
I think he's great. He's one of those actors, like, who can pull off being the really goofy, kind of unattractive, slubby guy, which he is in a lot of films.
Bad Neighbours.
But then, yeah. But then be the love interest in Sisters, and you kind of find him attractive.
But I mean, it didn't do much for me, I'll be honest. But I was too distracted by Amy Poehler in the short shorts and the high tops.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, that was a very alluring dance. But yeah, I like Barinholtz. I mean, he's one of those actors who turns up in things and you think, oh, thank God you're there. I feel a little bit better about the schlock that I'm watching knowing that you're there. Suicide Squad leaps to mind.
Oh, yeah, true.
He's the guard, isn't he?
He is. I blocked out that he was in that.
Oh, God. Yeah, but you know that moment that he's in, you're like, oh, okay, things might look up now. And then you realise that they do not. Also, Snatched, the Amy Schumer one where he's the brother.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and he's arguably the best character in that film.
I mean, that's a terrible, terrible film, but he's brilliant in it.
I could live without ever seeing it again, if I'm honest, but yeah.
Shall we talk about another sequel?
What sequel we got now? You can't just say a sequel, because there's 96 sequels at any point.
Specifically, fine, Coming to America.
Oh, yeah, Coming to America. So this is...
Did it need a sequel?
It didn't. It never needs a sequel, but a rumour about a Coming to America sequel comes up about once a year now.
Okay.
It's like clockwork. Although this time around seems to be the most developed that the rumour has ever been. Mm-hmm. And I think it's Kenya Barris who makes Blackish.
Blackish, exactly.
I watched him recently on that History of Comedy documentary, because he was doing the racial episode.
Okay.
The episode that deals with racism in comedy, race in comedy, and he was talking about Blackish and what it represents. And he's written Shaft as well.
Oh.
The upcoming reboot of Shaft, which, incidentally, we found out, I think yesterday, Netflix are going to be releasing worldwide.
Ooh.
So, yeah, more news that ties into that in a minute. But Kenya Barris is going to co-write Coming to America sequel as well. Now, there's no word on whether or not Eddie Murphy or... what's his bloody name?
Oh, man.
Arsenio Hall. Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, whether or not they will return. Although you'd imagine they'd have to. Or at least cameo. They'd have to at least cameo. I'm going to assume that if you made
it needs to be a reference somehow.
If you're going to make a sequel to that now, I'm going to assume the concept would be it's Eddie Murphy's son doing a similar thing.
I guess. Or is that too obvious, though?
I can think...
Maybe it's his daughter.
His daughter, that would work. Although I can think of a way to invert that. Quite well, and have him actually just be, whereas it was Eddie Murphy who wanted to go to America, have it basically this time around be a daughter who really doesn't want to go to America, but is sent anyway.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. But I have a feeling as well there's going to be a wealth of material for a Coming to America sequel that you could mine post Black Panther. When Black Panther comes out, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of stuff about sort of reclusive African nations and America that you'll be able to mine a lot of comedy out of.
Yeah. I can imagine it having a very different tone, though.
Oh, yeah.
Making it these days.
Yeah, I think nowadays it would have to be edgier and more satirical.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you've got someone like Kenya Barris on there, do you watch Blackish?
Occasionally.
I think if you've got someone like Kenya Barris on there, that suggests the IQ portion of it will be upped ever so slightly.
Yeah.
But and also
there'll be a lot of commentary going on in there.
There will be, yeah, and I'm sure there'll be a cameo for Anthony Anderson somewhere. So, which I'm not against, if I'm honest. I'm very jealous of his hair in Blackish. I wish I could pull that off. But
I don't even know what to say.
No. You can't see me with that hair now. But so about the Netflix thing. So Netflix have apparently started something of a revolution within the ranks of the Academy for Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. So basically, the people that run the Oscars.
Yes.
They assembled hundreds of their members this past week to address one key issue.
What was it?
What is a movie?
That's deep.
That is deep, isn't it? It's very philosophical. Really basically, because Netflix have substantially changed the game.
Yep.
And the AMPAS, I'm just going to call them the Academy for the purpose of conversation, what they're commonly referred to anyway. The Academy are concerned that Netflix's tactic of booking their films into a cinema for 1 week, which tends to be like I think the Curzon had Okja, for instance, for a week. And that was seemingly worldwide. Well, it was in the UK anyway. They were concerned that doing that cheapened the Oscars, because even though they were released in cinemas, they technically qualify for an Oscar. The Academy's worried that cheapens the Oscars. They're also very concerned about long-form series that are then re-edited into films that then stand a chance of winning an Emmy and an Oscar, which very nearly happened this last year.
Did it?
O.J. Made in America. Which is a series in its original form. That's how I saw it. I watched it as a series. And then there was a feature film edit that then got nominated for the Oscar.
Who'd have thought? Netflix changing the game.
Yeah, I know.
There you go.
But they really are just changing the play entirely over at Netflix. It's a very different world.
Well, it's stuff like the Oscars. They're just going to have to get with it. The world is different.
This is the thing. Netflix had a hard time at Cannes this year.
Yes, they did.
Because they premiered Okja and their logo was booed.
I was going to say, but people loved the film, so they came out of it like, oh, it was amazing. People but they booed the fact that it was
booed the logo, yeah. And, that's snobbery. I'm sorry, but that's archaic of a dying institution that needs to get with the programme.
I agree.
I think I'm sorry, but in a perfect world, they would need to accept that a feature film should be released on high concept streaming platforms the same day it comes out in cinemas, and that you charge a premium for it. Exactly.
There's plenty of people that would do it as well.
Well, this is apparently the thing they're trying to do now. Apparently they were trying to launch it this coming January, but it hasn't been the deals haven't been sealed yet, because apparently Apple wants to run it. So let them.
Let them do it.
Let them. If you want to charge me £50 for a film I can watch within 48 hours in my own home, and I don't have to put it with the general public, I'll pay that.
Yeah, you just have a pie.
You do, don't you? You just get all your mates together.
Exactly.
And be like, hey, we'll watch... Wait, I don't think you do it for, Force Awakens or anything like that.
Oh, no.
You wouldn't do it for a big tentpole movie.
There's certain films that you want to go to the cinema to see.
You're not going to do it with a Marvel movie or whatever Christopher Nolan's next one is.
No.
But, I got a mainstream comedy.
Yes.
You do it for something like that, wouldn't you? You do that for something like Daddy's Home or Baywatch 2. I was
going to say Bad Neighbours.
Yeah, something like that. You'd absolutely do that. You get all your mates together and you'd pitch in, wouldn't you? And you watch it together.
They bring the food and the drink, you pay for the movie.
That's totally it. Yeah, exactly. Bring the drink and I promise I'll drink more than £50.
I don't doubt it.
No, you absolutely know I would. So let's talk about, there is a theatrical reissue this week, and that reissue is none other than the classic Coen Brothers movie, Blood Simple.
Tell me about it.
Right, you've never seen it, I presume?
No.
Okay, so this is a 1984 film. I'm not sure if it's not the first film by Joel and Ethan Coen. I'm going to look that up as I go. I'm pretty sure. But, okay, hang on. Let's have a gander. Known for, come on, IMDb. There was a lot of films on here.
They did a lot of films.
They really did a lot of films. Hang on. Director, let's go. Sort by, all the way down to the bottom. And no, it's their first feature.
Okay.
It is their first feature. So 1984, it is the story of a man who discovers his wife has taken a lover. He's played by Dan Hedaya. She's played by young Frances McDormand. He discovers that Frances McDormand is stepping out on him, hires a detective played by M. Walsh to first to surveil them and confirm his theories, but then hires the detective to kill them both as well. However, the detective has his own agenda and sets in motion a sort of who's double-dealing who sort of a scheme. I'll tell you what, we've got a clip. Hang on.
I got a job for you.
Well, if it pays right and it's legal, I'll do it.
It's not strictly legal.
Well, pays right, I'll do it.
It's in reference to that gentleman and my wife. The more I think about it, the more irritated I get.
Huh? Could you tell me what it is you want me to do, or is it a secret?
It's no joke.
Right, so I was 1 year old when this came out, a 1984 movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a film that I saw for the very first time on VHS when I was like 12, 13. When I first went through my I'm going to watch all the greats.
All the movies.
Yeah, around that point. Back when Tarantino was good.
He was good?
Yeah, once upon a time, Tarantino was really something. But, you start to look into filmmakers around that time as well, and you start to look into your Coen brothers, and you start to look into your Rob Reiners, and your Peter Bogdanoviches, and your James Camerons. Well, not James Cameron, I had him all along, but yeah. So when it comes to Coen brothers, though, the logical place you're always told to start is Blood Simple. Now, it's been reissued. It's now, what was it, 30... Well, it's 1 year younger than me. It's exactly 33 years old. It's been restored. It's in 4K, and this is apparently a director's cut.
Okay.
Now, I didn't particularly notice a difference. The version I had always seen when I was younger, and I've seen it a few times over the years since, I've never noticed anything added or taken away from it. Now, this apparently is the director's cut, so it is something different to what I've seen. But I didn't necessarily recognise those things. Apparently, it's down to trimming. The director's cut is actually shorter. The performances in it are all quite engaging. They're all quite they hold up. They're still as good as they were then. As far as it being, if you release this in cinemas today, if like say it sat on a shelf, it'd never seen a release, and you put this in cinemas today and told people, hey, it's the new Coen Brothers movie, they would say, oh, okay, yeah, clearly it is a Coen Brothers movie. It's got the same signature style they have always had. It doesn't have the sense of humour, that dark humour that they've always sort of pioneered, even when they go sort of slapstick and satirical with it, like in the case of things like The Big Lebowski and Hail Caesar and things like that. This skews more towards the No Country for Old Men spectrum of Coen Brothers idea. And it's a film that it does hold up. But I do think I prefer my Coen Brothers with a little bit of that dark-edged humour.
Yeah, me too.
Having said that, I'm aware that they were not there yet at that time in their career. As an example of what made the Coen Brothers the force to be reckoned with that they eventually became, though, this is where you start. It holds up as that marker, that place that you go to really, really discover the Coen Brothers.
Cool, I'm putting it on my list then.
Put it on your list, along with Blade Runner.
For shame.
The classic films you've never seen.
Oh, no, there's quite a lot of them, to be honest.
You know what's annoying is every time you recommend some fluff rom-com to me, I do watch it.
And you love it.
No, I didn't love Just Go With It, thank you very much. I did enjoy The House Bunny, I'll give you that.
Yeah, The House Bunny's
I caught about 10 minutes of it on Now TV Live the other day. And I didn't realise that the pregnant girl in the sorority is Catherine McPhee from Scorpion.
Oh, well, there you go. Me neither.
I was like, oh my God, it's Catherine McPhee. It's Paige. But no. And yeah, I'm going to rewatch that film now.
I still stick by Just Go With It.
Well, yeah.
For an Adam Sandler film.
No. Just
I'm
no.
I'm sorry.
But no, as far as the Coen Brothers you go, you look at something like Blood Simple, and it immediately becomes obvious to you. Like, okay, I can see now how you go from that to Miller's Crossing. I can see how you can go from that to then go to Barton Fink and the Hudsucker Proxy, and you go into this more surreal comedic stuff that they then did, and then how they came out of that and started merging the surreal stuff with the dark edge stuff, and we started getting things like The Big Lebowski, and it all comes up to now.
Okay.
It's one of those things that it's a fascinating way to view the evolution of a filmmaker.
But is it an entertaining film?
Yes, yeah, it absolutely is.
There you go.
Yeah, it does hold up, but as I say, just not got that humour that you've come to expect. Then again, neither did No Country for Old Men. So, yeah. Back to the news.
Let's do it.
Back to the news. What we got? Oh, we never talked about the Russia thing last week.
Exactly. I was just going to say, so you've seen a film that has a bit of controversy in Russia.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep getting this because we did talk about the Russian It thing last week.
We
did talk about that. How did we not connect the dots on that one? Russian Burger King wanted to ban it.
Yes.
And now Russia wants to ban the death of Stalin.
As a concept?
Well, it did happen, so, you know. Yeah. So, right, if you're not familiar with it, The Death of Stalin is the latest film by Armando Iannucci. Mm-hmm. Armando Iannucci is obviously the co-creator of Alan Partridge. He is the creator of The Thick of It, In the Loop, Veep. The Death of Stalin kind of fits that sort of mini franchise of political comedies that he's got with, only it's set in Soviet Russia and centers around the death of Stalin. It literally opens with the death of Stalin and then shows you the chaos that erupts around it.
Is it in English language?
It is, and funnily enough, that's one of the gags in it. Oh. The gag is, because the cast is, Jeffrey Tambor, who's the actor in Transparent, and the boss in Hellboy, and Arrested Development. He's in it, for instance. Steve Buscemi's in it. Mm-hmm. Paul Whitehouse is in it, of all people. What? I know. Jason Isaacs, Rupert Friend, Andrea Riseborough. So there's a mixture of like British and American actors.
Cool.
And the whole gag is they use their actual accents.
Oh, okay.
And that's part of the comedy. I won't spoil it for you, but Jason Isaacs absolutely steals the film with something with a sort of performance you just don't expect.
Ooh, intriguing.
Yeah, it really is.
Has this been released? Is this out in the cinema?
No, I saw it. I had a preview screening the other night. It's been screening for a couple of months now.
Right.
I think I knew.
Not in Russia, though.
Not in Russia. I knew of screenings back in July. It comes out officially here in 2 weeks' time.
Cool.
So a week after next, we're reviewing it. And, spoiler alert, it's getting a good review. It's a good movie. It's a really good movie. A great comedy. But Russia are a bit annoyed about it. And they have taken it to. They've made official complaints. They want it. They want to prevent its release because they claim it's anti-Russia. And
well, there you go.
It's an old school farce. I think they're overreacting.
Yeah.
It's not against Russia. It's a send up of the machinations of politics at that time. How devious the politicians were against one another. The art of undermining each other subtly. So
it could have been done about any country, about any strong leader, or
you could actually see he could have literally done the death of Hitler, and just had it be about the last days of the Nazi Party. But I'm a Russian history nerd anyway, and so I loved the hell out of it because there's a lot of really embedded humor in it.
Okay,
gags about things that are gonna come decades down the line, things like that, but they're very subtle. And
so do you have to be a history nerd to enjoy it?
No, you don't. But I can see if you were a very tetchy country, this might be enough to offend you. But I would argue that if it's something that offends you and you're Russian, that's probably more down to a lack of a good sense of humor than anything else. We can say that, by the way. I did check our stats earlier. I used the stats. We have basically no Russian listenership, so we're good.
Well, it's because you like this film.
It's probably yeah. So sorry, Russia, but
sorry, Russia.
Sorry, you're gonna have to enjoy that McDonald's promotion, and now,
There you go. Should we talk about another remake that I really don't understand?
Go on.
Flight of the Navigator.
Oh my god, yeah. Apparently, the guy that runs that TV show Lucifer.
Yes, right. Which I do enjoy.
Do you enjoy
pleasure.
that? Okay, I started
it's
watching.
Terrible.
It is awful, isn't it? It is awful. Why is he so camp? I don't quite get that.
I don't know.
Or is it like a supernatural thing that he has the eyeliner? Because you never see him apply it.
It's just natural.
He just gets out of bed in the morning wearing eyeliner.
He's the devil.
Okay, weird thing. Anyway, I don't mind the series. Although, just FYI, just the new series. Tom Welling's in it, and
I heard
it's not good.
Why?
It's not good. For one thing, he's forgotten any possibility of being able to act, and also he's seen physically seen better days.
Oh, is that out already?
The premiere was Sunday night.
Need to get on Amazon.
Anyway, yes, I believe Amazon are putting it on week by week again. So anyway,
back to Flight of the Navigator.
Back to Flight of the Navigator. So the guy that runs that show, though. Yep. Is going to be overseeing a remake of Flight of the Navigator, and apparently they are keeping it the plot more or less intact.
And is it set in the same...
They've not really announced this one. I would imagine it's just set now. But
I don't really understand who this is for. Like, who is asking for this?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, did they look at the release of Monster Trucks and think, clearly there's an audience there?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, they looked at Monster Trucks and The Space Between Us and thought, do you know what, we've got a film that fits right in the middle of those.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's something we can put in there, yeah. But the space between these two films, we can...
Exactly,
yeah.
That's it.
But, no.
There we go.
It's a terrible idea. I don't know why you would do it. But you know what? They've remade flimsier things. I mean, well, we're getting that female-led, that sort of gender-inverted remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels next year.
Are we?
Oh yeah, with Rebel Wilson and I want to say is it Anna Kendrick? Oh, Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway.
I was going to say, is it just Pitch Perfect?
No, it's Anne Hathaway, and I think Rebel Wilson, and it's directed by what's his name? Thick of it, Armando Iannucci's boy.
No, I don't know.
Oh God, it annoys me. I've forgotten now. Chris, it'll come to me. Anyway.
It'll come to you. In your sleep tonight, you wake up.
It really will. So Daisy Ridley's going to do a movie set entirely within a taxi.
Okay.
It's called Daddy-O.
Daddy-O?
Daddy-O.
Is that a new app?
Do you know, it does sound like it, doesn't it? Basically, she's going to play a young woman who gets in a cab at JFK to take her to her Manhattan apartment, and along the way has a conversation with the driver in which they map out their lives, their lost loves, and the effect that their relationships have had on their lives.
Is it going to be like Phone Booth, where it is literally all in the taxi, or do you think flashback?
No, I don't know, actually. Possible. Possible. I don't know. But it's I know it's set largely within the cab, so.
I think I'd be more interested if there weren't any flashbacks.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing about Phone Booth. You were like, they can't possibly do a film that's literally just a guy in a phone
They did.
And they did.
They did.
That was good.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that script had been kicking around for, I think, 38 years.
Well, it should be good then by then.
That script was originally written as a Hitchcock script.
Was it?
That really was. That was written for Hitchcock.
Wow.
And the number of people that signed on to direct and star in that movie and then dropped out over the years. At one point, we were getting a Michael Bay version of that movie starring Will Smith.
Oh, man.
I mean,
we looked out then.
Yeah, consider the fact that nearly happened. Right? Really? You watch True Blood, don't you?
Yes.
Right, okay, so you obviously know Anna Paquin more than I do.
Yes.
I just know her as Rogue from the X-Men. She's joined The Irishman.
The Irishman?
The Irishman. She is... well, you know about The Irishman. This is Martin Scorsese's upcoming Netflix film.
Of course, yeah.
Is it like $100 million budget? I think something like that. It's got De Niro, it's got Al Pacino, it's got Harvey Keitel, it's got Joe Pesci, it's got Ray Romano in it.
See, Oscars, this is what Netflix is doing.
Well, exactly. I'm sorry, but you're not going to put this film in front of anyone and then tell them, oh, it's a TV movie.
Exactly.
And this is the argument, oh, it's a TV movie. No, sod off. No, it's not.
No.
Anyway, Anna Paquin is going to play De Niro's daughter. It's the story of a hitman who is responsible for the death of Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh, good on her.
Who's going to be in this version, played by Al Pacino.
I don't think I've seen her in anything since True Blood. I'm sure she must have been.
Well, she got cut out of X-Men Days of Future Past.
Ah.
Because obviously there is the Rogue cut of that, which amounts to literally 5 minutes of she steps in to absorb the power of the person mind-probing Wolverine, sending him back into the past. So, yeah. Which is a small penance to pay for the fact that she's taking over for the character who would have gone into the past had they not decided they needed Hugh Jackman to anchor the film again.
Oh, is that what it was in the comics?
It should be Ellen Page who goes back in time, rather than Ellen Page beams him back in time.
Helping him to go back in time.
But it should be Ellen Page who goes back in time.
Oh, well, there you go.
Alexandra Daddario.
Yes.
Alexandra Daddario straight after Daddy-O. Alexandra Daddario is going to star in a movie called I Am Not a Bird.
Is she not a bird?
She's not a bird. She's a very lovely bird with lovely eyes.
She's got amazing
She's got amazing eyes, hasn't she?
They are like piercing eyes.
She is all eyes, is Daddario. But actually, I really liked the fact that she got to step well outside the comfort zone with Baywatch. And there's that scene in which she's telling off Zac Efron, and you're thinking, actually, it's fun seeing you do something different like this. Yeah.
Although you do think she was a bit underused.
Oh, totally underused. But yeah,
it's still pretty good.
But yeah, her interactions with Zefron are very good. She's going to star in I'm Not a Bird. It's an adaptation of the book Lost Girls and Love Hotels, which is set in Tokyo. Follows a girl who's kind of down on the world, kind of searching for herself, gets in with, she finds herself falling for a member of the Japanese mafia.
Ooh.
And yeah, so that sounds pretty interesting, but it's going to be an actual lead role for her, which is not something she's really had.
True, but deserves.
She does, indeed. Optimus Prime.
What about him?
He's got a cameo in Bumblebee, apparently.
Oh, well, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, whoop-de-doo, Basil. I do not care in the slightest.
I really don't care. I really don't.
Okay, here's news I love. Right, you know they're doing a biopic for Vince McMahon.
This is WWE.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So Mr. McMahon, as he likes to be called, who is, he was the founder of WWF, which then became WWE. He's still a very prominent figure there. He is to wrestling what Hugh Hefner is to breasts.
Sure. That was not a comparison I was expecting. We have news about him.
We do, yeah. Okay, so Bradley Cooper apparently has been offered the lead. He's not accepted it necessarily, or maybe he hasn't, they're keeping it quiet, but Bradley Cooper has been offered the lead in the Vince McMahon biopic. Please allow me to show you a picture of Vince McMahon and see if you can see Bradley Cooper playing that role.
Well, Vince McMahon was clearly behind that casting.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah.
When I look in the mirror, I see Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, I feel like that. But it's going to clearly be one where there's going to be a lot of aged makeup effects.
Well, there must have to. I mean, the guy's pretty old.
But also, he is jacked.
Yes.
He's creepily jacked.
You would expect it, though, in that field.
And also, he has fought Donald Trump. So, yeah. Which is...
Did he win?
Do you know, I honestly don't know. But I have seen him... I think he threw him through a table. But,
nice.
Yeah, everyone wants to see Donald Trump thrown through a table.
I'm surprised we don't see that more on, like, Twitter, memes and stuff.
Oh, they do. Donald Trump posts them.
Really?
Donald Trump... Did you not see? Donald Trump posted them.
I'll do it before anyone else does.
He removed the logo of the guy he was fighting and removed the head of and replaced it with a CNN logo. Yeah, anyway, Hugh Hefner, let's talk about that one.
Yes.
You're happy about this? Are you happy about this?
I don't get it.
Okay, I don't.
I don't understand it.
Okay, so I think Hugh Hefner had been dead for about 24 hours.
If that.
And R.I.P. big guy. Sorry, forgot. Yeah, Hef's gone. Anyway, sad times. So Jared Leto is going to star in a Hugh Hefner biopic directed by Brett Ratner, which might be the worst sentence I've ever had to utter. I mean, I think Crack.com posted the greatest meme, which is Brett Ratner will direct Jared Leto in a Hugh Hefner biopic, and then which is a sentence that literally gets worse with each passing word, with each subsequent word, which is actually true.
It's true. How random is that?
Yeah, I mean, there've been murmurs about a Hugh Hefner movie for years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that there's going to be a film coming out about him, even though it was kind of...
There's an Amazon series.
Is there?
Literally, right now. I think it's just been added this last month or so. There's a Hugh Hefner series that's been added
to... Like a documentary or like a series?
Like a series, a fictionalised series about Hugh Hefner got added to Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised about that. It's the Jared Leto thing.
I know.
And how I think he's all like, I really want to get inside him. I really want to understand him. Which, of course, you would expect from him. But what a weird person to want to do it with.
I know. But, yeah, I'm sure Jared Leto's going to think ill of spending, a month, it's like 6 months in a mansion doing research for a role by hanging out with scantily clad women and a bunch of dogs.
Ah, that explains it.
Yeah. Speaking of Jared Leto, by the way, and his process, let's talk about Suicide Squad for a moment. Well, unfortunately, we must. If you remember, last year when Suicide Squad came out, I'm not sure what music festival it was, but Jared Leto was on stage performing. Is it 30 Seconds to Mars?
Yeah.
He's performing with 30 Seconds to Mars, and he made comments to the crowd, and they all cheered him on, in which he talked about what a piece of crap Suicide Squad was, and that they duped him into doing it, and blah-de-blah. He thought he was making a whole different movie, and la-la-la. Then he did an interview with IGN, and this was in August. I looked this up earlier. He did an interview in August with IGN, in which he then claimed that he knew that Suicide Squad was garbage. All the stuff he shot for it, they left on the cutting room floor. He barely knew of any of his stuff that was still in the movie.
Well, to be fair, he's not really in it.
Yeah. He's now claimed he's never seen Suicide Squad.
Oh.
So, okay. Now, either he lied publicly twice on the record, or he's lying now. Not sure what that is. Now, his claim now is he doesn't watch anything he's in.
Okay.
Right? None of his work. He watches none of it back.
Well, I can't blame him for that, but don't make a comment then.
He's not even seen Blade Runner 2049, nothing. He's not even seen Dallas Buyers Club. He specified that one.
But he is excellent in that.
Yeah, we won an Oscar for it. He better be. He did, however, specify there was one exception to this. He has seen Requiem for a Dream. Okay, which was, I suppose, kind of his watershed moment as an actor.
I can't believe the guy's never seen Fight Club.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so there is a white man over 30 who's never seen Fight Club. Okay, but it's good to know there's one. I literally have the poster on my bedroom wall.
So can we expect in like a year's time where he says, actually, I did see it, and actually it was
I
a pile
have
of garbage?
no idea. But, okay, you a Halloween fan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Original.
Original, like,
Yeah.
Okay, right. Good news, because you know that's coming back next year.
What? Again?
Halloween's coming back, but it's coming back to its original continuity.
Okay.
So they're even going to delete a few of the original. This is going to be Halloween 3, effectively.
They're Terminatoring it.
Yeah, they're Terminatoring it. So Halloween happened. Halloween 2 happened.
Right.
Like the Jamie Lee Curtis ones, not the god-awful Rob Zombie ones. And it's going to be directed by David Gordon Green, who has co-written the script with Danny McBride, of all people.
What?
Okay. John Carpenter is producing it.
No.
So the original creator, he's producing it, and apparently he has a lot of say in it.
Okay.
Like, we've been told. It's also being produced by Jason Blum from Blumhouse, who, does like Get Out.
Insidious.
All those movies. So he knows how to sell a horror movie.
So it's a sequel then?
It's a threequel, technically. It's going to be the third official installment.
Wait a minute. Are they erasing Halloween H2O?
Yep.
Oh, I'm not down with that.
But that's where this news comes in, actually. Right.
Okay.
Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back.
Okay.
Okay, she's going to be back as Laurie Strode. Okay, so this would be, the third one in sequence that she stars in. Mm-hmm. Now, because they've gone back in the continuity, they have the opportunity to undo certain characters and events. And in this case, we're getting rid of Josh Hartnett.
Oh.
Okay, Laurie Strode does have a child, though. And they have cast that child. They have cast Judy Greer.
What?
Yeah, I know. So Judy Greer, who was Scott Lang's wife in Ant-Man, she played Caesar's wife in Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and War for.
She's the mum in Jurassic World.
Mum in Jurassic World, aka the most negligent mum ever. I'll send my kids off to a dinosaur park unattended in the company of my known to be negligent sister. Yes.
But boy, I'm glad she did.
Yeah.
Wow, she's going to be Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter. That's like, I know Jamie Lee Curtis is not exactly a spring chicken, but that's just mind-blowing.
That Jamie Lee Curtis is old enough to have a daughter Judy Greer's age. Absolutely true, though.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, she's going to be Karen Strode. Karen Strode. So we'll see who gets cast next. I'm intrigued by that.
Cool. I mean, when can we expect that then?
That is next Halloween.
No way.
That is literally next Halloween.
Wow.
By the way, speaking of Halloween movies, I discovered the other day, I was waiting for The Glass Castle to start, which is a Lionsgate movie.
We're now calling that Glassel, by the way.
Glassel. Yeah, I was waiting for Glassel to start. And excellent. Good wordage. So I was waiting for Glassel to start, and I was talking to the very nice lady from Lionsgate. We were talking about films they have coming up, and she was saying they have My Little Pony in a few weeks' time.
Yeah. Do you know, I actually really want to see that.
I actually hear surprisingly good things about it from adults.
Emily Blunt is the main
Pat Oswalt's in it.
Is he?
Yeah.
And John Hamm?
Okay. Fair enough. Anyway, I was. It's getting some good buzz actually from adults, so I'm intrigued by that. I'm looking forward to it. She's saying we have that coming up. We also have Jigsaw.
Of course.
And I was saying, I can't wait for Jigsaw. She went, yeah, we're not screening that, right?
Oh no, bad sign.
No. Actually, not.
Okay.
Because I think after the second or third Saw, they never screened them for critics after that. Okay. Because I think the logic behind it was there was a certain quality level that was just going to be there anyway, and you were either in on it or you weren't.
That's true. It's
kind of like, is there any point in screening a Transformers movie? Doesn't necessarily mean they're awful, but it means you know what to expect.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bond movies have a similar thing, certainly. But also there's the spoiler issue. It's very easy to spoil a Saw movie.
But they're never going to live up to the first one.
I don't know.
I defy anyone that saw that twist come in.
I know. Yeah, but that was a real mind blow back then.
It was a doozy.
That was so good back then.
It was so good.
I got handed, because that was back in the days of like movietime.com, which is where you could order like Region 3 and 4 DVDs, like proper DVDs from basically the Far East. And they were official studio release DVDs.
Yeah.
But you could order them whilst films were still in cinemas. Here. Cool. And you paid the same price as you would when it eventually came out in the UK.
Why do I know about this? Anyway.
But it was also the only one of these sites that didn't charge import tax.
Cool.
Yeah, it's not around anymore.
Oh.
But a friend of mine handed me Saw one day. And I took it home, stuck it on, just on his recommendation. Knew nothing of it.
Yeah.
Goddamn, I was blown away.
I still remember going to the cinema to see it, and I was a cheeky 17-year-old sneaking into an 18, and I was just, mind blown. Mind blown.
I know, it was really good, wasn't it?
And then the second one was really bad.
Oh, I like the second one. I'll be honest, I like them all except for, really, number 4, I think. Number 4 is the only one I actively disliked, because...
Once we get past 3, they all become a blur.
But I always remember that Saw is a franchise that really does test the boundaries of what a mainstream audience finds to be good taste.
True.
I remember people going ballistic about the brain surgery sequence in the third one. But,
so Jigsaw's coming out, though?
So Jigsaw is coming out, but no pressure.
Oh.
No pressure. So unless
we should go and see it together, then.
We should.
Yeah.
We're racking them up this week, aren't we? Okay.
I've got it on record now.
We do. We're getting a Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
No.
We are. It's going to be...
Live action, I presume.
CG/live action.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
How?
All I want to know is exactly how long is it going to be before Paul Giamatti gets cast as Dr. Robotnik?
Of course.
Because who else do you get? It's either Paul Giamatti or John Goodman.
That's so weird. Like, CGI/live
I know,
action.
but wait, because there's really bad news. It's being done at Paramount. I know. So it'll make no money.
That's a shame.
I know. DC are going to, the DCAU, as it's called, the DC Animated Universe.
I did not, but I do now.
Animated films get released direct to DVD. They tend to get like event screenings for one night only kind of thing through, I forget what they're called now, that fan company. Yeah, anyway, they're doing their first Elseworld release this year with Gotham Elseworld, which is like an alternative universe version of a popular character.
Okay.
So they're coming out with something called Gotham by Gaslight, which is an animated movie that goes down the steampunk route with Batman. He's Batman in Victorian London hunting Jack the Ripper.
Oh.
Okay. Turns out they're also doing another one of those afterwards. It's going to be called Batman Ninja. And it's basically going to be anime, and it reimagines Batman as a ninja, which kind of, kind of freaks me a little bit, since I'm pretty sure Batman's meant to be a ninja.
Well, that's what Christopher Nolan told me.
Yeah. Didn't Liam Neeson teach him to be a ninja?
I'm pretty sure he did.
They weren't doing jigsaws and eating scones. They were training for ninjahood. But training for ninjahood, like, that's the thing. Did you like the film Lucy?
I didn't.
Did you not?
I didn't.
It does seem to be a quiet. I liked it. I didn't blow my mind. I liked it. But we get a sequel.
I quite liked it until towards the end.
Yeah. We'll get ready for Lucy 2.
Oh.
So, yeah. So, that's...
2C.
2C. Oh, that's good. So 2C is coming. Luc Besson's written the script. It will not be his next film, though. But yeah, it is coming. So expect it in the next couple of years.
It'll be quite interesting to see how they pick that up.
Yeah, because... Can it?
I don't know.
Did we talk about Charlie's Angels last week?
I don't think so.
Okay. Apparently they've got someone in mind for 2 of the Angels.
Go on.
Right. Okay. Bear in mind, this is going to be directed by Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. These are their choices for 2 of the Angels. Brace yourself.
I'm braced.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Okay.
Okay. That's out of nowhere. Fair enough. Okay. And Kristen Stewart.
No.
I know, that was my response too.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Which one is she?
The moody one with no sex appeal. Unless you're directing Snow White and the Huntsman. Anyway, I know that was a bit of a jab there, wasn't it?
I can't see that. Like, aren't they meant? Maybe I don't know Charlie's Angels enough, but aren't they meant to be kind of peppy, feisty women? Like,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't mind the short-lived TV revival a couple of years ago.
There you go.
Starred Jessica Jones' sister, the blonde.
The blonde.
Rachel something.
I don't know.
I don't know. Rachel something from Jessica Jones plays the sister.
You still watch that?
What?
The sequel, the TV series.
No. They did a short-lived revival. And it got cancelled after like 5 episodes.
There you go.
Yeah, so obviously did that well.
The only one that enjoyed it.
Yeah, I know. I want to talk about Justice League for a moment because, first of all, Danny Elfman is doing the score for Justice League. Okay, fair enough.
How did they get that one?
I think someone said, "Oh, who can score Batman and not sound nauseating?" And they said, "Well, evidently not Junkie XL." Because Junkie XL's refused to do it anyway. So they thought, Danny Elfman did it good once. We'll get him to do it good again. So they've got Danny Elfman back to the Justice League score, and apparently he's managed to include the original Superman theme as part of his score. So that's going to be back. Nice. So we might actually get something. When is
Justice League actually coming out?
November.
And they're only just doing the score? Is that normal?
Be wrapped up. Yeah. The score usually the last 2 months. Okay. But interesting thing I've noticed with Justice League, they're doing a lot of, you noticed there's a lot of posters for it appearing this last week or so. Have you noticed something strange about these posters?
Not that I can think of.
Right, next time you see one of these posters, just look at the colour of everyone's skin.
Okay.
See if you noticed, regardless of race or anything like that, just see if you notice anything weird about skin tone in it.
And you're going to have to tell me.
Okay, right. Every single image that has appeared in the last week for Justice League has noticeably been stuck in Photoshop and had the vibrance setting turned right the hell up in this bizarre attempt to sort of protest that, oh, no, it's not dark, it's lighter, honestly, I promise you, it's so much brighter. Okay, because you know what colour Wonder Woman's outfit is.
Yeah.
It's bright red now in these posters.
How strange.
It's very odd. If you look at them now, it's hilarious to watch them.
Yeah, I'm going to notice it now.
Oh, you will. It's terrible.
There you go. Responding to what the people want.
Yes. What do the people want? The vibrance setting. Turn right the hell up. Yeah.
Turn the lights on so we can actually see what's happening.
Oh, God. But that's really it for me this week. I'm kind of out of news.
I think the only thing I've got is Jude Law. It's going to be
he's going to do a spy movie called The Rhythm Section.
Yeah, with Blake Lively.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay, that's fine, I guess.
It's a random pairing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, after King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, I don't want to see Jude Law in anything for a while. Funny story about that, I was shooting the breeze with Chris Honeysett the other day, and we were talking about just films recently. We were talking about spending too much money on films.
Right.
And we were talking specifically about Blade Runner. We were talking about the fact that Blade Runner 2049 has cost apparently about $180 million.
Wow.
And that it is sheer insanity. We were literally sat around having a beer waiting for Loving Vincent to start. We were sat at the Waxy O'Connors in Leicester Square. And shooting the breeze, and we were waiting for that, and we were saying it's insane in 2017 that you would spend $180 million on a sequel to Blade Runner, a movie which we should never forget was a box office bomb.
Of course.
Right. Yeah. So the idea that there's an expectation that the sequel could be anything else, I'm sure it'll have a great opening weekend, but let's not forget what happened to Mother.
True.
Yeah.
Although presumably this is a bit more mainstream.
A little bit more mainstream, but yeah.
Yeah, $180 million.
$180 million on this.
Think of the subways you could buy with that.
But we were talking about that, and we were talking about like ridiculous films that they spend ridiculous sums of money on, and he said, it's like that Robin Hood film. I went, what Robin Hood film? Yeah, the one with the Pacific Rim bloke. And I went, oh yeah, Legend of the Sword. He goes, that's the one, yeah. He goes, isn't it funny? I say Robin Hood, and you actually know what film I mean. I went, yeah, because it did actually feel like a pretty crap Robin Hood movie.
That's bad times.
It's a terrible movie.
To be fair, though, I forgive Jude Law just because of Spy, which is such an amazing film.
Yeah, but he is overshadowed by the comedic tour de force that is Jason Statham.
True that.
But we need more Statham comedies in our life.
We do.
We do.
I really didn't think he'd pull it off, but he does.
Where'd you get the suit? Made it, didn't I? When this ends, by the way, in a moment, I have to tell you the Jason Isaacs thing.
Yes.
I promise. When I tell you this, you will race out and see The Death of Stalin when it comes out.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. On which note, we must wrap up.
No, do I have to?
Thank you for joining me again, by the way.
Thank you for having me.
But and don't forget to notice the Justice League marketing posters, because they are hilarious. In fact, Calvin has just texted me an image that actually shows one of them side by side, edited in with a still from Batman and Robin. Please look at this. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like it's lit for Batman and Robin.
It does.
Because they've turned the vibrance up, and it just looks silly. By the way, notice his skin tone. Look at Batman's mouth. Ben Affleck's mouth. Yeah, it's basically orange.
It looks like a doll.
It does,
like a Ken doll.
But that's what they're doing. That's their new marketing campaign. But
see if it works, eh?
Yeah. On which note, here it is. Your moment of Cage.
You've heard how people use only 10% of their brains. Sorcerers can manipulate matter because they're born with the capability to use the entire power of their brains.
So wait, is sorcery science or magic?
Yes and yes.